Savios, good evening to you. Join us live. This is your news network, CMI. We got breaking news tonight here. The Sadc Summit, the regional body Sadc, has officially adopted a report that damns, that nullifies Emerson Mnangagwa'S boast or claim to presidency. If you can hear the sound of my voice, my name is Simba Chikanza, beaming to you live right now. It is 8:28 in the night, and we are on this news story. Do click the link over there to share to someone's screen and let us know where you're logging in from and what time it is where you are. If you can hear the sound of my voice here, do not forget to let us know where you're logging in from. The Sadc regional body has today just concluded an extraordinary Congress. An extraordinary summit in Luanda, Angola, and they announced a statement towards the end, and that statement is very clear. The statement adopts the report that damns Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa'S boast to presidency through the 2023 elections. Our viewers, readers, and listeners, that is the report that has been published on your news network, Zimai. And if you haven't seen it, just bump onto it right now. Go in the search bar and just type Zimai, and you will be able to read and follow the story. People watching in from various parts of the country. We are expecting a few guests to be joining us shortly, so please do be patient with us as we conjoin them onto the stream. It's a very good evening to you. If you haven't read the story, you might want to read it before we go into this broadcast so that you've got context. You've got very, very clear context there. The regional body Sadc has endorsed, it has adopted a report that nullifies, Emerson Mnangagwa'S claim to presidency. And allow me to just bring the link up here and at the same time to go through the story. My apologies here. I think we're getting a bit of feedback from our guests that they're failing to go in, so I'm going to try and resend a link to them. My apology. Here we go. Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. Just sent them a new link over there. And here we go. Here we go. My sincere apologies that our guests have delayed coming through. You know, these things can happen at last minute. While you're preparing for a broadcast, things sometimes just don't work, and it's so frustrating. But hear me. Ndio mabasa acho, ndio namo yacho inombo itika mubasa redu iriri, muntima edu I. Have you read the report? Have you read the article? You need to read the article first before you join the broadcast. It is a fairly, you could say, lengthy, but it's quite a concise article that you can read in a very short space of time. And then you are able to know what exactly we're speaking about. So we're just posting the link once again here on this page, on the stream. Have you seen the link? Click the link. And read it for yourself. Who say, read for us, please? Okay, we'll try and read for you. And because they say, Zvanzichi, tanga ematudza Zvanzichi, kana mapedza kuverenga muzotudza kuti Zvanzichi. Well, we'll try our best to satisfy the Zvanzichi category of our news readers who prefer us to read for them and then ludzira for them. Ludzirwa first. Kupakurirwa. Dzidza iwerenga mega. I've just been in the process of assisting some group of Zimbabweans who got robbed 25 million. Now, we're not joking, folks. 25 million. They were duped by a UK-based nurse who is close to Mutule Ngube, who claimed that she was selling land. Again, she was selling residential stands, but in the form of agricultural stands that she would then later on, she promises that she would subdivide. And over the period of over 6 years, she's actually amassed over 25 million. One person, 25 million from just 550 women, who are being lied to. And this has all been simply because this group of Zimbabweans never bothered to read. Pamutemo, you can't sell agricultural land anymore. It's illegal. You don't sell agricultural land because in Zimbabwe, agricultural land is owned by the state. You get a lease. You get a 99-year lease. So what's the point of you spending 100,000 buying land that you could have just gotten for free? Right. So quickly, obvious witnesses. That's what I was saying there. Mega Masimba. Come on. So I'm just trying to bring our guests here. My apologies. I just don't know what is happening here. And if it fails, then I just don't know, folks. I'll just have to just read for you the article, and then we'll call it a night. And then we'll come back later on, maybe tomorrow morning, that we'll be able to go through the pieces. Okay, so here we go. We are trying to get our guests, but let me just quickly give you a summary from what I read of in front of me here. I just don't know why our guests are failing. And you know what? If we fail to bring them on, I might have to I'll just go through what we have here. I think one of them is now on. Right, okay, right. One of them is now here. We're waiting for the other guest here, Dr. Mavaza, to come through and to be here so that the story, thoroughly munch it in every way possible, because people read people read a story in various ways. Some people, like right now, there's a video of Mnangagwa coming down the stairs, and then he meets Ruben Barwe, right? And then Mnangagwa appears as if nothing has happened, and he says, look, the summit went very, very well, but you can tell the man is extremely sweaty. And he's not the usual Mnangagwa that you see. He's not. But yet there's a narrative, there's a story that ZANU-PF is telling here, that nothing happened inside there. That look, we were here to talk about the DRC and nothing to do with Zimbabwe. That's one side. Okay, so it's interesting. I think Dr. Mavaza is not yet here. Let's just quickly hear from our analyst here, Mr. Shepard Yuda. Mr. Yuda, how are you? Good evening, sir.
Evening, Mr. Chkanza. How are you?
Fine. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that the other guests are not yet here. And we might as well start with you. We've got a video here on our screens, Mr. Yuda. Okay, going to try and pull it up. So this video, okay, it shows us. Tell us what's going on. We're hearing one side of the story there that's telling us, look,
yeah, the problem that I've seen Simba with a lot of Zimbabweans, it's like they don't understand how Sadc operates. What they want is just a ga, then the solution. That's what these guys think Sadc operate that way. If you look at that video, Mr. Mnangagwa is not the usual Mr. Mnangagwa who is always bubbling with confidence. You understand? He is walking. If you look at him, He's like very slow walking, and those guys are trying to prevent him from falling the stairs. That means he is feeling dizzy. Something has happened inside when they were discussing. Because remember, when Mr. Mnangagwa, before he went into this summit meeting, he said there is nothing about Zimbabwe going to be discussed. We are going to discuss the situation in DRC, in eastern part of the Congo. But if you look at the minutes that have been posted by Sadc, obvious, the Sadc has now adopted the report that was done by Nevas Mumba. This is what ZANU-PF hated most. They didn't want this to happen. They got to the extent of mobilizing people for signatures in and around Zimbabwe to say, let's sign for a petition so that Sadc must not adopt this report. So unfortunately, that report has finally been adopted by Sadc. And this is why you see they are so quiet. Mnangagwa, it's a blow to Mnangagwa. This claim to victory. It's a heavy blow. Adoption of that report by Sadc now means an action plan should be in place now. It's either the Sadc will recommend for fresh elections or a government of national unity. As you understand that when they did the same with the 2008 elections, when they adopted the report, because they didn't want
Right.
ZANU-PF didn't want that to happen. Unfortunately, this has finally happened. I'm so happy. I'm so glad about
So, so, so,
the
so, so let's
adoption of
let's
that
let's get
report.
this right. Let's get this right, Mr. Yuda. Okay. Here we are. Who support Mr. Mnangagwa, or who
You are
believe
badly
that Mnangagwa
breaking.
has got power. I
You
apologize.
are
I
badly
apologize.
breaking,
I'm
Mr.
hoping. I apologize. Is it better now? I'm hoping that it's better. Okay. So you're telling me here a lot of people who were hoping that Mr. Mnangagwa would have his way. These people were hoping to see drama, are saying, look, if there's no drama, then Mnangagwa has not been exposed, right? But you're saying that it's a report. The secret is in a report. The power is in a report. It's not in the drama. And the 2008 situation, and the reason why Levi Manawasa was killed, he wasn't killed because of drama. He was killed because of a report that he was about to take to the African Union. Is that correct?
Definitely, that is correct, Mr. Shkanza. Remember,
Saka
Sadc.
Masimba ari mu report, Masimba haasi mu drama, haasi mu noise.
No. People are expecting drama. People are cornered. They are expecting instant results of whatever has happened. But the mere adoption of that report by Sadc, this is what ZANU-PF feared. Remember, ZANU-PF were gathering signatures to try and forward a petition to Sadc to stop Sadc from adopting that result, that report. Now that report has been adopted, and it will form a framework of policy how to deal with the Zimbabwe situation now. It's now on the agenda.
Saka masports
Yeah, this is the beginning now of the sports, because if you surf the internet, if you read what ZANU-PF people were saying, they didn't want the adoption of the report by Sadc, because they know that once that report is adopted, then it will jeopardize Mr. Mnangagwa's claim to victory. You understand? Because if you look at Sadc's legal capacity in the area of peace and security, this was laid long time ago in 1992. This list, one of the objectives of the organization, Sadc, is to consolidate, defend and maintain democracy, peace, security, and stability. That is the purpose of SADC, the organizational capacity of SADC. Their purpose is to maintain democracy, peace, security, and stability. So the way they do it in report forms. If you come to the United Kingdom, they say white papers, green papers, this and that. Those white papers or green papers, they are adopted by the government for policy making. So if you look at what ZANU-PF feared all along has eventually happened. They didn't want SADC to adopt the report because a mere adoption of that report is now that SADC is recognized the contents of that report, which means they are now bound to act. But if it was not adopted or brushed aside, then SADC could have done a blow to the people of Zimbabwe. So to me, according to how I know SADC, I'm so glad that the report has been adopted and now an action plan has to be put in place. Probably this is why Ramaphosa had to summon President Chamisa to sit down and understand what Chamisa wants. Do you understand, Mr. Chikanza?
Wow, you know, this sounds quite deep, and even right, Wilbert here.
Yeah.
We have, you know, earlier on 4 hours ago when we went live, we had a problem that SADC as staff blocked the Zimbabwe blocked the citizens from getting a live stream. I mean, live streams, live broadcasting was banned by SADC staff there. So we are only getting a residue of what happened inside, which we don't have all the details. But while we're in this state, Wilbert, ZANU-PF has released this video of Mr. Mnangagwa.
Comrade President, how did it go?
Excellent. With very successful Sadc summit. Yes.
Any of those pretenders who might have wanted to smuggle issues over here, did they get?
No, these things happen in society. Not everybody is a priest. So you find these things happening, but we are so alert that we are going to deal with the things that are relevant to the summit, which was called. This is extraordinary, which means there was a particular subject we had to discuss.
Only DRC issues.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Excellency. All right.
So there we are, Mr. Mnangagwa there is saying, Wilbert, what is this? That's his narrative, okay? We had a total blackout earlier on, with hours on end of total darkness, no detail, nothing. And then suddenly, right now, Mr. Mnangagwa comes out. He says Zimbabwe wasn't even touched, okay? It was only DRC issues. Give us your pick from this.
Well, have you seen the SADC communique that they've released?
Yes, we have seen the communique. Yeah, shoot, yeah.
Yeah, the communique does mention that the election issue was raised, but it was only to acknowledge that report, and therefore then one only assumes, as far as SADC heads of state are concerned, they have acknowledged the report, and that's the end of it.
Right. So you're so you're saying that's the end of it.
Well, I mean, from the communique, if they were going to follow it up, they would have said so. But from the communique, it sounds like that's the end of it.
Okay.
And Mnangagwa was
so we have okay, so we have two things here. We have the communique citing, okay, the report, adopting the SCOM report, and then we have Mr. Mnangagwa's body language as well. So there are two things that we have here. The mention of what Mnangagwa says didn't even happen in there. He says, look, this summit had nothing to do with Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe is there. They did mention Zimbabwe in there. And the report that you are saying that they acknowledged it, that's a 43-page report, Wilbert. That's not a small mention, is it? We're talking an entire 43-page here being presented today. It's just that what you saw there is a summary, Wilbert. That's not the entire. That's not a full record of what was deliberated in there. So there are two things here. We have that mention of Zimbabwe, and then we have Mr. Mnangagwa'S both verbal and body language. Mr. Yuda, Wilbert is saying that's the end of it.
Yeah, it all depends on his depth of understanding of what this SADC thing is. You understand? Some people, they've got superficial understanding of what SADC is. This is why you see ZANU-PF was going around mobilizing people to obtain as many signatures as possible to stop the adoption of that report by SADC. So it all depends on his understanding.
All right.
Yeah, it all depends on his understanding, his depth of understanding of how SADC operates. I wanted to assist him, first of all, that SADC itself, remember in when this issue about security, defense, or cooperation was discussed in Malawi, probably in 1992-93, what SADC did is it adopted what the United Nations Security Council wanted it to do. The United Nations Security Council is there to maintain international peace and security. So for SADC to be seen as an effective board of affiliated to UN, it adopted those Security Council policies and laws to say they want to maintain the same peace, the same security. In a way, the United Nations maintain peace and security in the world. So what they do is that communique is something that shows what has been adopted by SADC. You understand? Even if you read what they adopted on DRC, there is no much elaboration there. It is written in a similar way that SADC has adopted the report about the Zimbabwe elections. So that dangles Mnangagwa's presidency. You understand what I mean? Because what they look at is there any tension in SADC region, and they aim to abet that tension. By so doing, every SADC country signed a protocol on politics, defense, and security. It's sort of like a cooperation that they signed, that we are going to cooperate with the security requirements of SADC, the defense requirements of SADC, and the politics of SADC. So this is why I was saying it all depends on Wilberforce, whatever Mdara is called, understanding of how the SADC operates.
No, I'm not claiming to be an expert on what SADC says, but the report, the communique, does say that the summit received an update on the elections in SADC member states and noted the report of SADC Election Observer Mission on the harmonized elections in Zimbabwe and Eswatini. So in this particular case, that's all they have said. All I'm saying to you is my understanding of that statement is that they have seen the report, and that is all there is to it. You know, they didn't say or imply that they're going to have a follow-up on those reports, and that is
exactly
all.
Yeah, that's exactly. I asked you that even if you read on that communique, read what they've written again on DRC. DRC is burning right now. Do you mean that they just report, they just receive it and then shelf it? Because on
the DRC, they go into detail and say that some of the member countries have offered to give more support, and they've also going to discuss on how the deployment is going to be made. But I think what you have got to understand here is that SADC, this is why we've got these problems in the DRC, and we've had rigged elections in Zimbabwe. SADC has never been weak, has never been strong, rather. You know, so we cannot pretend SADC's commitment to democratic values and peace and security is anything to write home about. That's why we have not made free and fair elections.
This is why I am saying. This is why I am saying. It all depends on your understanding about how SADC, when they adopt those reports and list them as number 1, number 2, number 3, number up to I don't know what number they've listed them, because this is a way they frame what they call conflict prevention, management, and resolution. This is where SADC is. They don't just adopt it and just shelf it. No, no, no. Once they adopt it, they must ensure that they put conflict resolution, prevention, they put management there, then they come with a resolution. That's why they adopt those results.
If I could get this right, Mr. Yuda, are you saying what Wilbert is expecting today of a deployment, okay, for peace resolution or some sort of peace mitigation? SADC has already done that for Zimbabwe by sending the SCOM. There are no elections in DRC, so it's a different ball game. But the type of crisis that is in Zimbabwe has already received a level of deployment of its own kind so far, and this is the treatment. Is that what you're saying?
Come again, Simba. I didn't rephrase that one. I didn't understand.
Okay, sorry. I'm saying that, you know, what you seem to be emphasizing here is that Zimbabwe was not left out at all. And Zimbabwe probably actually received more treatment than DRC here, because DRC doesn't have a 43-page report, a preliminary and a final report. It doesn't have that, right? And then on top of that, Zimbabwe also had an election. It's a crisis of an election type or kind. DRC doesn't have that. So you're going to have different words expressed relating to each country, the way SADC treats them. But you cannot say that SADC, number one, did not discuss Zimbabwe. It actually did. And it even adopted a report. Number three, Mnangagwa did not dispute this report. So he did not reject this report. Contrary to what he was doing, sending people to Botswana, to the head office, to dispute and to dismiss the SADC, the SCOM report. Today, Mnangagwa is quiet. Yeah, so he's actually accepting a report, an investigation that was done by SADC that nullifies his boast to presidency. So Zimbabwe, the way Zimbabwe is being treated is different from DRC, because SADC is actually at an advanced stage of formalization regarding the Zimbabwe situation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly, Simba. That is the purpose of SADC organ for politics, defense, and security. Because once they adopt that, it allows them flexibility and timely response. This issue, remember, is probably the highest, considering the Congo. The Congo situation has been an ongoing thing, but the Zimbabwe issue, this is why you see it is prioritized and given the highest level. It's a sensitive and potentially explosive situation that can go worse than the DRC situation. You understand what I mean? So SADC now is now given like powers to deal with Zimbabwe now.
So what do you expect SADC to do now? I think that is what probably most people will be interested to.
SADC, it adopted the UN Security Council issue of how they maintain international peace and security. You understand what I say when I say that? You understand when United Nations is maintaining international peace and security. You know what it means? It means when SADC now, it has got powers to say like these elections were flawed. We need a fresh election in this region. They've got powers
so what
now.
are you saying? Are you saying to SADC is going to go to Zimbabwe and say that you must hold fresh elections?
Yes, they can go to Zimbabwe and say that we've come now for this
when do you expect that to happen?
Yes, they can do that now because they have adopted the report, and Zimbabwe cannot
when
say
do you
no.
expect them to do that now?
Yeah, this is what we are expecting, a timely response to the adoption of that report now.
Okay. Are you saying...
Okay, so an undisputed... So this is an undisputed investigation, right? An undisputed report. Am I right? Yeah? Mnangagwa doesn't dispute this anymore. So Mnangagwa admits that he rigged the elections, that he used SFA as terrorists, right? Today, he has admitted also that the complaints that judges were paid money, in the run-up to the elections. He has admitted that there was violence, that there was chaos, that ballots went missing. So all these things, this entire 43-page report, he has admitted. So Mnangagwa'S with Zipanas, is that correct? Yeah,
definitely, because they failed to stop SADC to adopt that report. So as a result now, apartheid mdara uyo upresident wake hausina value mSADC.
Wow. Tasaramo is writing here and says, you don't mislead people. Hakuna zvakadero. Tasaramo, do you want to elaborate, please? Yeah.
Problem in Zimbabwe, they don't understand they don't understand in depth what SADC is. If they say defense and security, they don't understand it. They don't understand it when SADC says has adopted this now. Because ZANU-PF was fighting to stop adoption of that report by SADC. This is the reason why they were fighting. Because unfortunately they failed. The report sailed through and has been accepted by SADC now. That means Mnangagwa's presidency is null and void.
I think we need to confine ourselves to what we know as facts. The fact of the matter is the communique itself clearly says that the summit, that report was presented to the summit and they accepted it. There is nothing that says they're going to follow it up or
they can't. Let me
finish the point. Much less to say that the present ZANU-PF government is illegitimate. That is not in the communique. Where do you get that?
By mere adoption of that report, they've agreed in everything that report has stated.
No, they can accept the report.
Yes.
And look back on it.
Right.
And that is what they are doing here.
Right. Where I want you to understand now, when they adopt it, they are now going to put a resolution. A timely resolution, because they have if they dismissed that report, they were not going to adopt it. And this is what ZANU-PF wanted.
You can accept the report and do nothing about it.
No, not
let me finish.
No.
Or you can accept the report and say we are going to follow it up.
Do you have reference to that? To say, look, in such a country, SADC adopted this report and they did nothing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this particular.
Yes, this is why I'm telling. This is why I'm telling you.
Do you know?
Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Yeah. Do you know why?
This is why we have got all these problems in these countries.
Right. Do you know why Sadc sent troops to DRC before?
Well, those were chaotic.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Because there was war there.
No. There was a report put about DRC. And that report, after it has been put to Sadc, they had to sit down and put a resolution. Then they called for military intervention in DRC. But it did not happen on the day that report was submitted and adopted. Today, that report was officially being handed over to Sadc to be adopted. And it has been adopted.
I think you want to give the impression that Sadc is a well-organized regional body that is competent. I think you are just exaggerating it. Sadc has been known to be incompetent, indecisive. We are talking of rigged elections here in Zimbabwe. How many times did Sadc turn a blind eye to rigged elections in Zimbabwe? How many times?
Exactly. That I like the way you put it. How many times? If you read all the reports about the elections in Zimbabwe, at the end, the observer mission was congratulating Zimbabweans, which never happened in 2023. So they were not ignoring, they were going according to the reports which were submitted by their observer mission.
Well, I think in this particular case, if you want to tell me, it's because Sadc themselves did not know that the elections were flawed in the past, all along.
In the past, right? This is why I'm saying.
Then we are not on the same page.
Right. This is why I'm saying.
Incredible elections.
Right. This is why.
Universal.
This is why I am telling you that if you go back to 2023 elections, to 2013 elections, 2008 elections, 2018 elections, the Sadc Observer Mission, before they leave, they congratulated Mnangagwa or Mugabe to say, congratulations, this election was free and fair. And they would say it there. So there was nowhere this report could have been issued. Now we've got a different report from whatever people were expecting. And that report, ZANU-PF was fighting not to be adopted by Sadc, because they know the implications of being adopted. This is why you see Mnangagwa was saying Zimbabwe is not on agenda. How can it not be on agenda whilst Sadc is adopting the report? Already once you are put on that communique that this has been accepted by Sadc, so Sadc agrees to whatever is written in that report.
No, I agree with you. Mnangagwa was lying here, saying that the election report was never discussed, because the communique does say it was discussed. But what I want you to understand here is that from that communique, there is nothing to indicate that Sadc is going to follow up on it. That is what I'm trying to emphasize.
Exactly. Ndosaka ndati, I've referred you to the Sadc issue about sending troops to DRC before, I think in 1998, if you remember.
Well, I think we can talk about many things
exactly.
that have done.
Yeah, when we talk.
Done so incompetently. You know, let's not pretend here that Sadc is a competent body.
How can you say?
To you.
How can you say it's incompetent whilst it sent troops to DRC in 1998?
Well, even this time, Sadc met to discuss the situation in the DRC, and they never took any action.
Protocol, Mdara. Zvine protocol. Azviitike muswamati zviitike
ipapo. Protocol was that they had discussed it and they'd come to a resolution.
No.
And they were going to take action on it, and they did not take action on it. You know? So pretending that it was all to do with protocol.
Mdara, mukatarisa pa communique yamunayo yaya. Zvinhu zvinotora kana gore zvipere kudiscusswa zvese.
And you call that efficient?
Zvine protocol, Mdara. Azviitwe nhasi.
Okay, so you call that being efficient?
That's efficient because SADC is not a permanent group.
Well, I don't know what you call efficient.
Terrorize and root or amdar. Could make a sense yazo?
No. If DRC are facing a crisis where they've got what you call it, dissidents invading the country, killing people, and you want to tell me that SADC will meet and for them to finally take action take years, and they're not that efficient.
Can you listen to what I said
anymore?
Can you repeat what I said? Today was a day they were adopting these resolutions. I mean, adopting these reports and so forth. Reported DRC.
Why
can't you wait in the page?
No. Before you go on, what I'm asking you is this the first time they're getting report on the DRC?
If I take you back to 1998, when a report was issued, a report was issued about the situation. It was escalated, the situation in Congo. But they did not deliberate it on that day. They went to sit down and put an action plan. This is when they said, can we send the troops now? Then people agreed, troops were sent. They were not sent on the day of adoption of that report, DRC.
Nobody said they were sent on the same day.
Those are
what I'm saying to you is on this
you were expecting it to happen today.
No.
That's what you were expecting.
No, I didn't say I expected it to happen today. What I'm saying to you is on the current crisis in the DRC, this has been going on for over a year. SADC did meet and discuss the issue, but their resolutions were never met. The commitment that they'd met, they never fulfilled it. And this extraordinary meeting was called to discuss the same issue. And you want to tell me, Kuti, that is being efficient and competent, where so you want a crisis happening, and a year later you still haven't taken action on it.
So do you wanted them to discuss about DRC today and finish today?
No, I expected them when they first discussed the DRC and came to a resolution to follow it up.
No, this is why they called for this extraordinary meeting. Do you know what extraordinary means?
To discuss the same issue.
Yeah, that's why they called this extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing. It's not a usual thing. Oh, that extraordinary thing is to speed up things.
To Zimbabwe.
Listen,
I think most of the listeners out there would want to know what is going to happen.
Yes, this is why I'm teaching you. Okay. This is not a usual meeting, an ordinary meeting. It's an extraordinary meeting to speed up things. This is why they have to adopt the things that needs attention. So they've adopted them today, the things that they need attention. You won't be surprised. Next week, a delegation in Zimbabwe to talk about that report and way forward in Zimbabwe. It won't surprise you. It won't surprise you next week. Troops are in the DRC, Eastern DRC, Kwashata.
No.
You understand? You understand it now.
Let's focus on Zimbabwe. DRC was discussed. On Zimbabwe,
DRC was not discussed in Dara. They had to adopt a report about Congo, the happenings of Congo. They adopted. They are going to put a resolution. Nothing was discussed today. It's an extraordinary meeting to adopt what is important in the region. That is destabilizing the region, which needs urgent attention. Those are what it and us. All right, DRC discuss what is the resolution about Congo now, if you are saying they've discussed it.
Well, I can read you through the communique, because
what are they saying? Are they sending troops now?
No. Let me tell you what they said in the communique.
Yeah.
They did discuss it, and they are following it up by making the commitment, the financial commitments, and they'll be following it up with the soldiers. That is what they said in the communique.
Can you read what they wrote?
Okay,
read
let
it
me
now.
read it. Let me read it.
Darazi.
Pakaipa ndabvuma.
Aziviga.
Aiwa ndiri kumbonzwa kuti zviri kunzi chimukoma wangu inini nyaya dzenyu futi ndinodziteerera kaini kubva dzese dzamaindondedzera panyaya dzekwachidhumo. Ndiri mwana wagift nowa kaini from Garoi.
Mwana wani?
Wagift nowa Kapa.
Okay, this is what the communique said. Summit expressed concern at the deterioration of the security and humanitarian situation in the Eastern DRC and reported resumptions of attacks and occupation of territory by M23. The summit provided strategic guidelines on deployment of Sadc mission in the DRC. The summit commended members that have committed additional pledges towards deploying the Sadc mission. The summit reiterated the need for Sadc to spearhead efforts towards mobilizing of resources for facilitating peace and security. Those are the actions that I would expect them to be following on. On Zimbabwe, all they said, the summit received an update on the election in the Sadc member country, Zimbabwe.
Right. Ndopanda kuudzai mudhara ndikati paSadc so far kana paDRC they've said nothing because dai vatobuda ipapapa vaisa resolution yavo mangwana makutonzi Zimbabwe tipei masoja akutoenda kuDRC. The same, refer back to 1998 before soldiers were sent to DRC. That was the same language they used. Then they spent about a month, 2 months, 3 months before they gathered the soldiers to go and help DRC fight. This it's a way of a conflict resolution. Zimbabwe, the same in 2008. And they to follow up work tomorrow and say as Shamise now next week we should someone to come to Zimbabwe to sit down in my political parties on this discourse because they've adopted it on their agenda to say this needs resolution.
All right, so we'll wait until next week. Let's see whether they're going to
not next week. It can be next year. It can because what?
So what is the point if it's going to happen next year?
Tarisa that azvishamise ndara izwa ishona makabva mushadhara amchazvishona ndati inini azvishamise kuti kana next week chaiyo motoona kwakutotumwa delegate kuti enda sit down nevanhu vekuZimbabwe tise resolutions.
Okay, but is it possible that they will also do nothing about it?
They are not going to do nothing about it. They are going to act on it. This is why they to adopt it in that. I want you to read more about Sadc and understand the protocol of Sadc. Could you understand say have an in-depth understanding of how Sadc operates? Decision zvine protocol, zvine channel.
Apa ichilema hasisiri mukuru wavanditi izvezvi.
Ari kuti hand over as next year. Because this is just an hand over to Tanzania. Ichilema is going to hand over to Tanzania.
But the only munhu angatikwanisa kutibatsira pepeka panyaya yeZimbabwe kuSadc kwe ndichilema. Because ndianga nepower through zvinyaya zvake zvangakuda kuthreatenwa nana ED.
Aiwa kabamnini. Zvine protocol. Report yakauya. Report it's all about that report, not about President weZambia or President Okubu. Angave President of South Africa, he has to abide by what is in the report. What's important at this juncture are the contents of the report.
All right.
I think what we are failing to understand here is that SADC itself is not unanimous on the report. South Africa, for instance, never liked that report. Let me finish the point. And they've never made any secret about it. And South Africa has got more influence in SADC than most of the other countries.
South Africa only one vote in Dara. You know, that more influence about what? It has got only one vote. There are 16 countries. You vote once.
I think you seem to be putting a lot of faith in voting as if it's a democratic system.
It's nothing. It's nothing about putting faith.
By SADC would be made on consensus. So
it's not about putting. It's not about putting faith. It's not about putting faith. It's the framework of the protocol, Dara. This is what I'm saying here. It's not about faith on SADC. It's about the framework of the protocol. How SADC operates. If you don't understand it, argue. To terms with the framework of the protocol. But the protocol, you don't know it. So if you don't know something, we can argue until tomorrow morning.
No, I'm not pretending that I know the protocol. I'm sure I can defer to you as knowing the protocol. All I'm questioning here is what I can see on the basis of what is there. You know, so in this particular case, if you're an expert on the protocol, I don't know. Maybe you are. I'm not trying to challenge you on that point. All I'm challenging you is on the basis of the communique. The communique says that yes, we have seen the report.
Can I ask you something, Mdara? What is a communique?
What do you mean?
What does that mean? Could I say this is a communique? What does that mean?
No, this after the SADC heads of meeting, I was saying to Simba earlier on that at the end of it, they will issue a communique, which will be basically saying we discussed A, B, C, D.
Exactly. It's a document. It's simply a document which lists what is important, what needs to be actioned on. This is what has been produced by SADC.
Yeah, but you seem to be telling me, just by the fact that they've acknowledged receiving the report on the election means they're going to act on it.
Exactly, they're going to act on it. This is why they acknowledged receiving it.
Yeah, you can acknowledge receiving a document.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean they're going to act on it.
Yes, by acknowledging receiving the report, it means that is an urgent matter to be dealt with. As next month or next week, we should a delegate from SADC. But it's now on the agenda and it must be resolved.
Yeah, not if some of the leaders do not want it to be followed up anymore. This is what I'm failing to understand. There are countries that have never wanted that report.
I've been in politics for too long. I'm sure you have. When I do analysis of politics,
an issue that all we are doing here is based it on the evidence that everybody else has. Yes, you may have the extra knowledge. Nobody's disputing that. But on the basis of what we have, what is the evidence that they're going to follow it up? Next week, we are going to have a delegation from SADC to follow it up. What I'm saying to you is that from the evidence, there is nothing suggested.
If they don't follow it up, it's a situation that is promising to be explosive. And that situation, Mdara, gonna konzeresa instability in our region. Those are agenda.
Well, there is instability in our region. Are you pretending there's no instability in our region?
It will spark controversy if they don't act on it.
There is already instability in the region because SADC is weak. That's what I'm saying to you.
No. It's not weak. It's about the protocol, Mdara. SADC every week.
Besides that, Mukoma, besides that, according to your own point of view, do you see with the other with SADC, it can help us from where we are now? Because from Tanga kushanda SADC yacho kusvika now vari kungoita zvinhu zvimwe chete and they don't even act wisely. Inini patangu maybe handinyatsonzwisisa politics here kana kuti, but I feel like Mukomaka SADC yacho inini ndiri kungoona kuti paipe kutamba nasawira umwe sawira pai.
No, zvinhu saka ndataura kuti zvine protocol. MaZimbabweans, I know kuti mapreswa zvakaipa, you want instant results. Instant results are not coming up. These things zvine protocol. Decision is not gonna be given by one person. Zvine protocol. Ndosaka uri kuona pavakaita meeting yavo ndambokurifeya in 1998 before troops were sent ku DRC. Kuti zvakatoitwa neprotocol izvozviya vachitsvaga nyika dzekuti toendesa here masoja, ngatiendesei masoja. Do you know how many countries responded there? Angola responded, Namibia responded, Zimbabwe responded. The rest, out of 16 countries, only 3 countries responded and they sent the troops. Zvine protocol.
Why did the others respond?
Protocol.
That is one of the clear signs that you are not united on an issue that is of fundamental importance. So in this case, let me finish the point. In this particular case, they are also divided. That's why I was saying to you, in some of the SADC countries, they did not want that report.
All right. Do you know why?
Why countries like South Africa in November last year came up with a party resolution. ANC came up with a party resolution that they will not allow regime change in Zimbabwe.
Right. Do you know why?
This
why
report,
only Mdara? Do you know why only 3?
That wish.
Right. Ndukupai ma facts ka ndisukupai opinion. Do you know why 3 countries only responded?
Which 3 countries?
Angola, Namibia, and Zimbabwe, out of 16.
Well, you tell me.
Right, I'm telling you now today, Mosbata, kuti SADC payakanisa matroops apa, aina kupuwa approval ne United Nations.
So?
United Nations Security Council aina kuvapa a go ahead SADC yekuti deploy ma troops.
Okay.
Ndosaka murikona dzimwe nyika dzakaita stay away because we are all SADC countries, all of them affiliate to UN. Even SADC affiliates to UN.
Okay.
That was the reason why other countries did not go.
I can tell you another reason why those countries like Zimbabwe.
No, don't tell me opinion. Tell me.
Let me tell you, this is a fact. They also went there for their own selfish reason. Zimbabwe is well known that when we sent troops there, Zimbabwe had its own agenda. Are you denying it?
On agenda, yakanga yatwa ni SADC.
Zimbabwe had its own agenda.
No.
Zimbabwe
yanga ine own agenda yakatanga kuenda without even informing SADC.
It doesn't matter when they went.
It matters.
But when they went
that's
there,
where
it
matters.
Agenda.
That's where it matters.
No. You should not try to create facts where there are none.
What was the agenda?
There, it doesn't mean they didn't have a private agenda. They did.
What was the agenda? What was the agenda?
To loot.
Huh?
To loot.
Without approval of UN.
Well, you just told us they didn't have the UN approval. Why are you telling us they had the UN approval?
Because SADC is an affiliate of UN. It needs approval from UN as well.
did they have SADC UN approval? You
When
are the
they
one
went
who just
there,
told us
when SADC, this is why ndakuzai kuti batai pandiri kutaura apa. SADC payakaenda kuDRC haina kuwana UN approval. This is why other countries withdrew from taking part in that war.
So Zimbabwe went there without the UN
Zimbabwe
approval.
went there with Namibia and Angola because SADC yakavadaidza yakati vari kuda handei ndobva vaenda.
Right, but without the UN approval.
Exactly.
Yeah,
this is why
I'm telling you also that Zimbabwe had its own private agenda in going there.
What was the agenda, Mdara?
To loot.
So
you are telling me they didn't go there to loot?
Yeah, no.
You seem to claim to know.
Operation.
You don't seem to know at all.
Mdara, I want you to take your time and research. Inini ndotora time yangu ndagara apa. Anumwana mabhuku aya. Ndokuvhurira zveSADC munozwana. Take your time.
You can have a whole library.
No, take your time.
Ignorant, my friend.
Knowledge is power, Mdara. Opinion,
yes,
take your
knowledge
time.
is power, but there are some people who claim to have it when they don't have it.
No, you need to know how SADC, an in-depth operation of SADC. You may
be right.
Opinion.
I don't know. Maybe SADC will follow this up. Next week, we may have a SADC a delegation discussing this issue in Zimbabwe. But from what I have read, I don't claim to have a library of information. From what I have read, it doesn't give me any confidence that they are going to do anything to follow it up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm an in-depth knowledge about how SADC operate.
I'm sure you are giving me an in-depth knowledge. I'm not denying that. All I'm saying to you is you haven't given me the proof to give me the confidence that next week there will be a SADC.
And not next week, not next week, or next month, or next year, but you are going to see a SADC delegation in Zimbabwe to deliberate on that agenda.
Is there?
I want you to write this down.
Any timeline here? Are we talking of it could be next year, or it could be in the next 2 years or 3 years?
Magambonzo word the prioritization.
I don't know. I haven't read it.
Those things are put on priority.
So you think resolving this problem in Zimbabwe is a priority?
Kondikataura mukambo understand mbichana musingapikise because ndiri kuzai zvepriority
priority. You want to tell me that resolving the political crisis in Zimbabwe is not a priority?
At the moment, because vanhu vari kufa kuDRC, imboendai papage pangu munoona hondo yandiri kuposta kuDRC. I've got friends in Congo vari kundisendera mavideos what is happening in DRC. I always post them every day. You cannot go kuZimbabwe. Hakuna kana munhu vari kurovana, kana vari kutemana, vari kupisirana dzimba, vari kupfurana. So the priority goes to DRC now. And Congo, it can be the first thing to be resolved. Because what is on the communique all needs to be resolved. So
SADC, the same people who are dealing with the DRC are the same people who will be dealing with Zimbabwe.
It's SADC, one organic.
You want to tell me the people, they don't have it is the same people who are dealing with the Democratic Republic of Congo who will be dealing with the Zimbabwe crisis as well.
I know you just need to understand how it operates.
I'm trying to understand here because you want to tell me they cannot handle the two together. You want to tell me if they are going to send a delegation to Zimbabwe to resolve this problem, but they are going to do it only after they've done Democratic Republic of Congo.
And munonzwa chiorgani chinonzi SADC Troika chachiya. Munochiziva chakanzi Troika chiya?
Yes, I've heard of it.
And the last time chakasita online.
Yeah.
Right, chasita online. Do you know what's the purpose of it?
I don't know. What is the purpose of it?
It just serves as a steering committee.
Okay.
So that decisions ultimately depends on their agreements. No basa rechitroika icho chiachi.
Okay.
Ndosaka muona chakangoita 2 minutes chibva yangoti zvakati chibva yati goodbye.
Okay.
Vaita chitroika ndobva vaya vakaita yavaita iyi inonzi extraordinary after chitroika.
Okay.
They agreed on what is important in the region to be dealt with. And Zimbabwe has been put on agenda. That means kana pane ma-resolutions ari kuitwa akutanga kuti action onzi ngati mhanye kuZimbabwe tonogadzirisa. Ngati mhanye kuDRC tonogadzirisa. Ndo purpose zvaitwa nhasi.
Okay.
Sorry, Mkoma Yuda, can I just interject? What is Mr. Mkori expecting to have happened today? Was he expecting Sadc to actually get on a flight and go to Zimbabwe today? What was your expectation, Mr. Mkori?
I would have expected Sadc to come up in their communique to say that they have discussed the Zimbabwe election and they are going to follow it up. They may not give you the details of how they're going to follow it up, but they clearly say we are going to follow it up, rather than just say, oh, we have seen the report and acknowledge it. That's it. Okay,
so your assumption is that they are just going to see the 43-page report and they acknowledge it, and then they're just going to file it.
That's what I personally, I think that's what I expect to happen.
No, but I want to understand if Mr. Mkori has ever worked in a corporate organization, just corporate shit. Not necessarily political, just corporate. Because if you have ever worked in a corporate, you would understand Kuti. There's a certain way that things are done.
Well, okay, let me ask you now, what did you expect to happen from this Sadc regarding Zimbabwe elections?
Nobody had seen this report officially. This report has been adopted officially. This is the point that Yuda is trying to explain to you over and over again, that officially the Sadc report on the Zimbabwean elections has now been officially adopted. Official is the word, is the key word. So adoption. So now it's up to you to define what the word adoption means. If you want to define what the word adoption means, right? If to you adoption means just taking the report and filing it, that is not what adoption means, Mr. Mkori.
What does it mean to you?
Adoption, it means that it has been acknowledged. So now it's going to be actioned. It's going to be actioned. That's what adoption means, Mr. Mkori.
Sadc has agreed to adopt it and action on it.
Okay. No. I put up my hands. If I'm mistaken, well and good. I want to see it being acted upon.
Because if they were not agreeable to the report, they were just going to reject the report.
Brush it aside.
They were going to brush it aside. They were not going to adopt the report. But while I'm here, I have something that I want to say to Mr. Mkori. I see that you have quite a number of followers, and you have a lot of podcasts that you do. You do your lives like a lot of times, and I've never had a chance to join you on your lives. And I feel that sometimes you bring up some valid points in your lives. But then I feel that there are times when you are really disrespectful to the people of Zimbabwe who have brought the struggle to where we are right now. Because there are so many people who have sacrificed so much for us to get to where we are. So like I asked you the question, if you have ever worked in corporate, you know that until a time when a building actually, takes off and you build that Karigamombe Center, it just doesn't start from digging the foundation. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. up until a time is a building just takes shape and you start riding in that elevator, there's a lot of back-end work that goes on, a lot of planning and pre-planning and a lot of other things and a lot of nitty-gritties. So,
no, madam, on that point.
Hold on. No, let me finish. Let me finish.
No.
Don't cut me off.
Let's get one issue clear here.
I have not
my interpretation of
I have not finished. No, I have not finished what I wanted to say.
Well, let me comment on that part. What I'm saying to you is on the communique. My understanding of it.
I have not finished what I want to say.
Have noted it.
I have not finished.
Ngatiboita debate. Imimi nyorai pasi mapoints amuda kuzotaura. Kana vapedza muzorumisa.
Let's go on to something else. Let's go on to something else. But on the communique, I've already said to you, my understanding of that communique is that they have noted it. And if they wanted to, they would have said, and we are going to follow it up. They did not say that. That's all I'm saying here. And on that point, I stand with what I believe.
That's why I asked you in the beginning if you have ever worked in corporate. Have you ever been in the corporate field?
I've worked on projects as well.
So
in this particular case, if you're going to follow it up, you do say you are going to follow it up by doing A, B, C. So in this particular case, they did not say it.
No, but you're taking me back. I don't want to lose my thought process over what I had moved on to, because I had explained to you I think you can look up the word adoption, and then maybe that word will explain to you, it will clarify what Sadc did today. But moving on, I had said, for the struggle to be where we are today, we have Sadc here, we have Sadc in Zimbabwe, we have all these people who are coming now and fighting behind the people of Zimbabwe. We didn't just get there by luck. We didn't just get there by magic. We didn't wave a magic wand. There's a lot of lobbying that has been going on behind the scenes. People have worked tirelessly day and night. So I think when you go on live and you say that we are at this stage of the struggle where it looks like things are beginning to look promising, then you say, Triple C, get out of it. That is totally disrespectful, because what it makes you look like a hijacker of the struggle. I think it will be more respectful if you come on and you join the struggle instead of wanting to hijack what other people have fought for. Because we have all fought.
Do not take the struggle to be your personal property, madam.
It's not a personal property. That's why I'm saying
let me answer you on that point.
Don't answer me before I finish.
Case, one of the issues that I've been very specific about.
Don't kick people off the struggle because it's not yours.
Nobody's kicking anybody off the struggle.
Yes,
we must be clear where we are going.
People are sitting in Zimbabwe, they are taking the fire. You are sitting there in the United Kingdom and telling
fire. I've got relatives in Zimbabwe.
No, but you are not. You are not in Zimbabwe, and then you're saying
it doesn't matter.
Triple C, get off.
It doesn't mean only those people who are in Zimbabwe.
Do you know what has brought us to where we are now? You are.
So you know, and I don't know.
You are acting like a hijacker, Mr. Mkori.
I am not hijacking anything.
You are hijacking the struggle. Join the struggle. Don't hijack the struggle.
This point very clear.
You are behaving like murume akagara kumba omirira vamwe vanovhima kana vodzoka obva avatorera tsuro dzavo dzavabata obva mhanya nadzo kunosvika kunopa madzimai kumba. That's how you are behaving. And then zvinoda kutendwa vavhima vobva vasiyiwa.
Let me tell you what your problem is.
I don't have a problem.
You do not want Triple C to be held to account.
I don't have a problem. Don't tell Triple C to get off. That's what I said. I didn't say I don't want Triple C to be held to account.
I'm telling you what I've said before, and I'll repeat it here. I have said Triple C were elected by the people of Zimbabwe just like MDC when they were MDC, for the primary purpose.
There is another one of your mistakes. No. Triple C is not MDC, Mr. Mkori.
That is nonsense. We cannot.
It's not nonsense.
We are not going to debate
it's
that.
It's not nonsense. Ndikarorwa kwa Mkori inini. Ndikarorwa kwa Mkori. Donzi Mrs. Mkori. Ndobva tonororwa kwa Yuda. I'm the same person and Rambe Nshinzi Mrs. Mkori. Kana ndabva kwa Mkori ndakutonzi ndikaenda kwa Yuda. Mrs. Yuda. Triple C is not MDC.
You are a virgin when you were married to another man before.
But my identity, and this is Siri, Mrs. Mkori, and Mrs.
You can
Yuda.
change your name.
I'm not the same person.
But you cannot pretend to be a virgin.
I'm not the same person. There's nothing.
You are the same person. You are the same person.
No, Mr. Mkori, people change.
Just because you change your surname, you think you are a different person now.
People change. Are you telling me that you are the same person you were 20 years ago?
I'm 20 years older than I was, but I'm still the same Wilbert Mkori.
So it means that you are not growing. That is your problem. You are not growing.
It depends what you mean by growing.
There's no growth.
Is growing. Then I am growing.
I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about your mind.
Madam.
I'm talking about your mind.
Who are in Triple C.
Because you can't remain the same person you were 20 years ago.
Those people who were in MDC.
All right. For the sake of progress.
The leader of MDC was Morgan Tsvangirai. Triple C has got a different leadership. Let's not get that twisted. Triple C is not MDC. You should stop saying that on live TV. And you should also stop saying Triple C, get out of it. Just because you think now Sadc is doing a solution.
Get out of what?
You say that so many times.
I said get out of what?
You said ZANU-PF and Triple C must get out of it. You're just in there for the gravy train.
Get out of what?
You said we want Zimbabwe to be ruled by technocrats. ZANU-PF and Triple C are just there for the gravy train. I've heard you say that 3 times. 3 times. And your people are listening and you're saying those destructive things. That's not right, Mr. Mkori. It's disrespectful to the people who are fighting the struggle.
Let me tell you the context of the technocrats. I said that MDC and ZANU-PF were in the GNU of 2008 to 2013, and they failed to implement any meaningful democratic changes in the 5 years. To expect the same people, or be it with different names, to implement the democratic reforms is being naive, to say the least.
Where do you see Morgan Tsvangirai here, Mr. Mkori?
It doesn't have to be Morgan Tsvangirai just as much as it doesn't have to be Robert Mugabe.
No.
The mentality of ZANU-PF.
Do you see the leadership?
Changed.
Do you see the leadership here?
Let me finish the point. The leadership of ZANU-PF has not changed just because Mugabe is gone.
Mugabe na Mnangagwa vanotorula zviri different.
They may be different, but
yes, they are
the
different.
Is the same. The rigging of elections is still the same. That is what we are addressing here. We are not addressing personalities. We are addressing the ideology of the party.
We are addressing leadership
of the party, the mentality of the party.
So why do you go on live then and you say Morgan Tsvangirai would have led people on the streets and this and that, and you compare Morgan Tsvangirai? I have heard you compare that. What I want to make clear
is that I just told you now,
the leadership
ZANU-PF under Robert Mugabe, MDC under Morgan Tsvangirai failed to implement even one token reform during the GNU.
So is Morgan Tsvangirai leading Triple C?
It doesn't matter who is leading it. That is what I'm trying to emphasize to you. It's not the individual.
Mr. Mkori.
The party itself.
Mr. Mkori.
We're talking about.
So you're saying leadership doesn't matter?
Yeah, Mdara. Problem ya muri kuita ndeyoti munonyanya wanza opinions. Opinion kana ichiuya iri opinion vanhu vanofunga kuti the truth but it's just an opinion. It's not a fact. The facts on the ground are real. Let's discuss the facts on the ground. Because my opinions are about Mnara. Munwese can say any of his opinion. And Murugona. Zvakafanana zvataurwa namukoma Ruben Satumba vanyora apa mukaverenga apa. You go back to what I was telling you. Ndozvanyorwa apa. Right. Chinozoitika ndechekuti tambotaura paipa kuti kana report ichinge yaadoptwa yakuda kuitwa actioned on. Zvakafanana nezvinoitwa kuparliament kuti taadopta this bill must be actioned on. Ndozvakazvanyorwa panapa. Saka Sadc Mndara ine ma-election guidelines ayo ainotarisira kuti they must be fulfilled. And Sadc feels those election guidelines were never met. So this is why they adopted that report as well. Let's action on it because our guidelines were never met.
Right. You know what, gents and ladies, we're going to need to be cutting shortly, because we've stretched a little bit. And I apologize. I had to pull out of a little bit and just let you all go folks, just go freestyle. But I would like to continue this discussion tomorrow. And when we do so tomorrow, could we please pull out, Mr. Yuda? I think we're going to need clusters that can be picked up here from the Sadc protocols and guidelines so that you can substantiate what you're saying, that there's a next stage out of this. Because you see, Mr. Mukori is from that school that is saying it's game over. The gate has been shut already. Mnangagwa is now safe. Okay. So, yeah,
Mr. Shkanza, Mr. Naishtaura issue depth. It all depends on his depth of understanding how Sadc operates.
Sure.
Well, like I said, your depth of understanding may be deeper than mine. I'm not pretending that I've got.
I don't think it's even about
I think
the depth.
The point that Simba is making there is important. If we are going to tell people that Sadc is going to come back on this issue and do something about it, I think we need to give people the evidence to support
evidence. When the DRC issue was discussed, it was not done on a troika. It was not done on an extraordinary meeting.
I think listen. What I've told you too.
That is evidence.
Is an organization that is fully incompetent. You said has never acted on anything.
That's why Sadc has got a new leadership. Why don't you give them a chance? You have seen Sadc on the move for the first time, and Sadc producing a report that is genuine for the first time. Why don't you give them a chance? Because we have never seen a report of this nature ever since, like in the past 43 years. Is this not surprising? Is this not?
Well, we have seen the report of this nature in the past, but I agree with you there that this recent Sadc election report damning the elections was out of the blue, and that is why I was thrilled, and I think many Zimbabweans out there were thrilled that there was going to be this extraordinary meeting. Yes, it was going to discuss DRC, but it was also going to discuss Zimbabwe elections. And according to Mugabe, the clip that Simba showed us there, the elections were not discussed. But from the communique, the elections were indeed discussed. The only thing I could extract from it is that they were discussed and the report was noted. It is possible. I'm not saying
according to the way you want them to write.
Sorry?
You wanted them to write exactly the way you want them to message. Like the messaging should have been according to the way you wanted.
Ordinary people like me, if they had said, we have noted the report and we are going to follow it up. That would have been, even if they didn't say when they're going to follow it up, I would have said, well, okay, they're going to follow it up. But to them to say, we've noted the report, you can note the report and forget about it.
Mdara,
That is what I'm hearing here could be happening. That's all I'm saying.
Maitarombo rakanaka kuti ndine in-depth knowledge of what happened before.
Well, I think that's why Simba is saying you must come up tomorrow with supporting everything.
All right. Problem ndeyekuti munointerrupta. Imimi na Simba. Pakaitika issue yeku DRC, you were there. I'm not talking from an opinion. I'm talking from a fact point of view. You were there, Mama Kura, Mimi Gonde, DRC, Chitanga Nekupera. Andidi. Masoja achienda. Andidi. Ndakupai references that nyaya. Could Tarisai back to 1998 before we send the troops. Pa Sadc avana kutanga nekungoti nhasi handei kutreka nhasi handei ku extraordinary handi mangwana handei angatendisei masoja. No. They put on lists of things that they need to focus on and so resolve. Ndo pamapuwa communique iya yekunzi taadopta each and each. Izvi ndo zvikuda kuti resolved. So Sadc is going to resolve all that.
Anjadzi Yuda, simplify things for Mr. Mukori. Ndekupi kwamakamboona kunono present kwa report yongoiswa yongokandwa. Like where? Even in a project, you said kuti you've worked in projects. Ndekupi kwamakambopiwa report yongokandwa.
It has to be read, it has to be understood, it has to be acted upon.
Mu project management, because kana makaita project management, like you say, Reshuaka, which I doubt very much. Akuna kunongopiwa report yobva yangonzi yakandwa. There's nothing like that.
Zapo definition ya adoption ka saka dzakufana ku understand manje.
Okay.
Zapo ka adoption zvakureva kuti kana muparliament mukazi adopta bhiri rinenge rakuto actionwa mukuru wangu.
Mr. Mukori ndakuenda asi ndapota zvangu.
Do not try to misinterpret what is there. The community.
If we could start wrapping up, please. 5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes, folks, please.
Was noted. Didn't say it was adopted, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to action on it. And in this particular case, some of the people did not even expect it to be discussed. But I give Sadc, I give them my support and applause for even accepting that report, because it could have been brushed aside. I know there are some countries like South Africa that did not even want that report from what they have been saying on public media and publicly too. So in this particular case, Sadc itself is not as if it's a homogeneous organization.
Okay, Mr. Mukori.
So let's change here.
Here's the dictionary.
That we know. It's not.
Here's the dictionary definition of noted, Mr. Mukori. Worthy of notice and attention. Magutskam.
Well, does that mean once you've noted something, you're going to action on it?
I said, and attention. Attention is the key word. Attention.
Yeah, but does that mean you are going to action on it?
Attention is Mr. Mukori.
Listen, they could have even said, and we are going to action on it and do nothing about it.
Attend to, if you are going to attend to something,
that is what I'm trying to emphasize to you. But in this particular case, Sadc is not a homogeneous body. There are some who really wanted that report to be actioned on. There are others who did not want it to be actioned on. The fact that it was even discussed in this Sadc ordinary summit was an achievement in itself.
Mr. Mukori, no,
but this is a guarantee that it's going to be actioned on. That is all I'm saying there.
Mr. Mukori, yes. Do you know why ZANU-PF was circulating a petition? Well, I'm not
ZANU-PF. I don't know why you're asking me to comment on ZANU-PF.
No, I'm asking.
I'm not ZANU-PF.
No, I'm asking. You are not ZANU-PF, but I'm asking you reason why you think ZANU-PF.
Why would I want to know that? I don't even want to know it.
Now I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Why that my signatures a good stop adoption of that report by Sadc?
Okay.
Saka not in depth. Yamofana kuziva kuti ZANU-PF was fighting to stop adoption. Saka ramana Mnangagwa panga achibuda meeting macho anga akaita kuneta. Boss anga achitoziva kuti hazvavharana. Report acceptwa. Saka tatove pashinyazi.
The report has been officially recognized,
Yes.
Mr. Mupori. That's where we are right now. Saka madzokera futi kunostada project management and take note of those words kuti anorevei. This time musaite zvekutamba kuchikoro kana muchiverenga. And futi musaite zvekutaimira vakoma venyu kana vabva kunovhima motora tsuro dzavabata makunopa madzimai. Stop telling Triple C to butt off. That's wrong. That's disrespectful.
No, I think on that one you are going.
No.
I'm not. That is my opinion, and I have the right to express that opinion. You have got your own opinion on those matters. I've got my opinion. And you're not going to dictate to me what views I should have on other people.
Taurai my opinions enyu musingadzingi vamwe in from the struggle.
I'm not saying this was what you should have done.
No.
And if you think otherwise, you say it.
No, you said
ZANU-PF
but of stopping other people to get out of the struggle.
They failed to implement reforms. That is a fact.
That's MDC. But musadzinge vamwe mustruggle muchifunga kuti ningirikini independence yauya neSadc
Stop it. Struggle.
Makadaro emikatatu kana. You keep saying
somebody being held to account.
Ndichapa Simba my video. I'll give Simba the videos.
I have no right to tell you to leave out, to get out of the struggle.
I will give Simba the videos. I'll give Simba the videos. Triple C, get out of it. ZANU-PF, get out of it.
What I say to you, and I'll say it again now, is that what I said is, if we are talking of democratic reforms, the way forward would be that we must have technocrats responsible for implementing those reforms. We cannot have the same people who failed to implement even one meaningful reform in the 5 years of the last GNU. That is my opinion, and I stand by it.
No opinion.
I'm not saying good job.
Opinion is not a fact.
Opinion is not a fact. Opinion
can be expressing opinions as well as facts. There are facts on the basis yokuchiyo. There are no reforms that were implemented in the last
next time when I was Ndara Mkori, but vatange vamboverenga mchana because inini ndimukona ndakagara panapa Mndara. I'm a fully qualified forensic scientist. When the judge doesn't understand certain forensic terms, I give informed opinion to the judge so that he can. Imimi, opinion yenyu now is not an informed opinion because it's what is coming from your mind. What you think is right, what else is wrong.
And
you're not factual.
You think
you're not being factual.
That is your opinion too. That was what I'm trying to explain to you. Just because you're a forensic expert doesn't mean you also know who is informed and who is not informed.
No, your opinion is that Triple C is not MDC. Your opinion doesn't know.
That point we have already covered. If you change your name, doesn't mean that you change your personality.
Mukadzi wemukomanya akafa anditi mukomanya akafa mukagara naka imba inenge ingori the same here mimi kana kuti leadership inenge yatochinja mumba imo
munenge bakurwa mukadzi wemukoma manje iye anga asati amborowa nemurume wake
zvinhu zvinenge zvisina kuchinja here mumba imomo
You want to tell me just because Nagara Naka,
Genius.
I'm now a different Wilbert Mukori?
No, I'm saying the house.
It doesn't matter. That is just changing the personality.
No, it's a personality. Household, you know, that's the question.
Guys, I think I need to eat and sleep.
That's okay. Bring the evidence tomorrow.
But no evidence in one is 1998.
No, that is not evidence. That is just me. You are giving some instance. This happened.
It's the reference of what happened.
That did not happen.
It happened.
You of things that did not happen.
Mr. Mkori, you just need to go back to school. That's all I can say to you. That is all I can say to you.
Don't start being a mistress here. Let's talk about.
No, that's all I can say. It's very difficult to argue with someone who does not know what they are arguing about, because they just argue for the purpose of arguing.
My opinion, man. Because perfect, so buy your opinion. Saka kuna kwateshienda. Bo guys, ini tona mangwana ndabobas.
Bo.
All right.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Oh, this is an interesting discussion, folks. Thank you so much. Let us catch up tomorrow. How is that, Wilbert?
That's fine. What time tomorrow?
I think we also have an opinion there by Advocate Masia, who is a solicitor, a lawyer. Maybe you could read that one if we could do a session tomorrow and we continue. And I'm hoping that Advocate Masia will come through. Can you see what he's just written there? Do you want to read it, Wilbert?
I can read it out. Sadc has officially adopted the report. Like the UN Universal Periodic Review, the report will be eligible for discussion and resolution of the recommendation therein. As you may know, Sadc reports also highlighted some violations of previous recommendations by the Sadc body. One significant issue is that the noting also comes without objection from any member state, even Zimbabwe. I think it would be nice to have Kennedy to give us an opinion on this one. I would want to know whether we can expect Sadc to do anything on this issue. Because Simba, I honestly believe there are some Sadc leaders who would have wanted this report, something done on this report. But there are others who did not want any action taken. And I've got a feeling that the latter may prevail. That is my opinion. And I think that is could well happen. You know, particularly when you're talking of Sadc members like South Africa who have influence in Sadc. And unlike some of our colleagues there who want to give the impression that Sadc is a homogeneous organization, competent and efficient. Sadc is not that. Sadc is a weak, just like the UN, the AU. And that's why Africa is having all these endless problems. Sadc has endorsed rigged elections in the past. That's just because their own Sadc election observer team endorsed those elections as substantially free, fair, and credible. Doesn't mean the Sadc countries didn't know that the elections were not free, fair, and credible. You know, so I think it is important that we remain realistic rather than be wishful thinkers. You know, we happen to be in the wrong region, at least in terms of, you know, expecting the region to come up to our aid. These elections on the 23rd of August were not free, fair, and credible. Sadc election observers themselves for the first time, noted that in the past we have seen it, we have complained about these elections not being free, fair, and credible. And we thought that SADC this time was going to stand up and, and take action. And unfortunately, it may well be that they're just noting it at their meeting was all that is ever going to happen. And,
well, I think it's going to be good if we catch up tomorrow, if we do a session in the night, same time, 8 p.m., and we have Advocate Masia and a few others. And I'm also hoping that during the day we can have ad hoc sessions debating this, because it looks like this discussion is going to get deeper, and hopefully we can also get someone from ZANU-PF who is of a legal mind, so that this topic is munched right to the smallest letter. How is that, folks?
I think it.
Well, here we are. Here we are, viewers, witnesses. This is our discussion tonight. We apologize that we've stretched, but as you can see, it's quite an emotive topic. People want to throw their opinions around this because they're seeing the matter in differently. And I think these type of discussions are what make us able to handle a contentious issue like this that affects our community better. Thank you so much, Wilbert, and thank you to all our panelists tonight. Thank you for joining in. Our viewers, do press the share button, and also share this. Take chops of these and take them into the rural areas, put them on Twitter and all sorts, and let's discuss. Let's catch up tomorrow 8 p.m. right here on your news network, CMI.com. Much appreciated. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Simba. Good night.
Yes, good.
This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot.
Introducing the
This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot.